Hi guys, and welcome back to Tea Time with Livvy. I hope you are all okay. I am filming an episode today, and this is going to be on like my experience with school because I have some funny story. I have some funny stories with school, and I feel like I have quite like a younger audience, so maybe that you'll be able to feel seen with some things that like I felt a certain way. Now, my experience. By the way, I literally can't stop thinking of Joe and the Juice. I just don't know about anyone else, but it's just really on my mind. Like, I just can't stop eating lately. And if you don't like jalapenos, you need to go and try Joe and the Juice spicy tuna. Honest to God, it'll change your life. And I have jalapenos on my pizzas and everything now. It's unreal. Anyway, so yeah, school. So I would say like my school experience probably really started in like obviously when I got into senior school. Like primary school, the ending of it was like was fun really. Like the school I ended up going to was actually like dead good. I've mentioned that before. I actually enjoyed that school. The only thing about that school, I actually mentioned this the other day, in like year six, she done like a full fucking leaving assembly, but it wasn't just like a bog standard leaving assembly. It was like where you had to do like a full on like musical and everything. I swear ours was Matilda, and I got the fat roll. She called me the ballerina. I was called, instead of ballerina. She was like, you need to say barreling after. It was like, give me more cake. But she was actually a boss teacher, and she like really pushed it. I loved her. Her name was Miss Rowe. She was so good. But yeah, I would say my school experience probably like the shit and the bullshit all started when I went into senior school. My senior school was so strange. It was a good school, like as far as education, probably to an extent it was. Like the teachers and that while I was there were good. Like they were good teachers and shit like that. But some of the ways like they went around things, and I honestly just think like some of the teachers had it out from me from the get go because of like the fact that I was a scouser. Like I just feel like I've always I said on me friend I said on like previous one of the other episodes that I just never really like gelled, and I always stuck out like a sore form. I always felt like I did anyway. And I feel like the teachers like I don't know, they just like had it all for me. I don't care, but that's not me being like victim, because I actually was a bit of points in school, but like the last few years I did get it down, to be honest with you. But yeah, so when I was been saying as well, like when I had like no mates, like at times in senior school, there'll be people who went to senior school with me will be like, you've never not had mates, because I was always like considered as, I don't know, maybe like someone who like, but it's not that, it's not like I had no mates. Like I always had people to like speak to and that, but it's the difference of like, that no one really like valid, like, what's the word? The feeling of like having friends, but that they're not your friends. You get what I'm saying? And I just like accepted that in the end. I feel like I come to a point in school where I tried to like change the way I was, just to like try and fit in a little bit more, so people like me a little bit more, because at first I was a lot, like I'm not gonna lie, I was. But yeah, it was just a weird time, really. I don't know. So yeah, when I say like I never had friends, you wasn't me. Do you get what I'm saying? Like you never lived it like the way I did. Like I know what these girls were saying about me behind my back. I know that it was never like a true friendship. I knew that that was kind of not there. And like even if I would have big arguments, obviously there was always arguments. You in senior school, what do you expect? Like that is what's going to go down. But like the only thing goes me is I just had like a big front about it. Do you get what I'm saying? Like I feel like that is one thing that I am quite good at. I can put the biggest front on about anything. Like you'll just never know what's going on inside my head, which is sometimes a bad thing, but it's a good thing as well in certain situations, because I genuinely faked it the whole way through school. Like I just don't know how I managed it. Like honest to God, So yeah, the friendship side of it was a little bit like wobbly. I never really had like a full on. I think I was best mates with everyone at some point. Do you get what I'm saying? I always had a different best mate, but with the teachers, let me tell you a few funny stories. So when I first went, everyone was just, again, like, I was just this big scouser with like a big donut bun, and like, I don't know, everyone just kind of just used to talk about me, and I get it, because I did, like, I probably did, but I was a bit like, oh, I don't know. Yeah, I do make myself cringe when I look back. But I had no bad, like, intentions. Like, honest to God, like, people always just, like, took me a bit too seriously. Like, oh, I hated that. Like, obviously I was still, like, quite a bit of a scouser back then. So, like, if I argued with someone, I'd always kind of, like, argue in my way. Like, which was not really their way. So I feel like that's where it come like, oh, where you get like accused of being a bully. Oh my God. Like people honestly did go so above and beyond to try and like paint a picture of me. It was actually insane. Like the teachers, not even Miss Rowland, oh my God, she was like the biggest bitch I've ever seen in my whole life. Honest to God, these kids would literally say shit to me and I would respond, and she would call me mum in with like a folder saying, and the folder would be like Livvy Roberts bullying, and like she'd like have like this folder of like fucking things, and I was like, but there's always two sides to every story. That's something the school never acknowledged. Like they just see me as this like a bit of a hothead and a bit of like argumentative, but there was always like there was always something getting said for me to react. I was just a bit of a reactive person, and because like I've said, I never had them just like strong friendships. Me experience wasn't the same that it could have been with senior school, like, which annoys me sometimes. But yeah, let me tell you, it's like the teachers and what they were like with me. They were just as bad as the kids. Honest to God, the kids just used to love to just try and like make me out to be super like horrible and mean. But don't get me wrong, there were certain points I would say in my school experience that I wasn't a nice person, I wasn't a pleasant person, and I like openly admit that. But like what people didn't see was like the other things that like no one really knew what, like everyone just, it was just a weird experience. I can't explain it. No one knew me. Do you get what I'm saying? Like no one knew me, no one knew me family, like no one like knew it. Like there were just so many assumptions that was going around. There was always rumors going around. Like the people would constantly say things, like all the boys would say things about me dad. People would just always say things, and it was just like, is this ever going to end? Like if you aren't saying something about me, he's saying something about my family, and it was just like kind of like a constant cycle like that. Like if I had like something nice, like it would be like there'd be accounts getting made of it, like just weird things, guys, that you just wouldn't even imagine. And it was just like pure hatred towards me. So I feel like I was always on the defensive. Like one person would say like the slightest thing and I would probably get me back up and be like snappy because I was so used to people coming for me. Do you get what I'm saying? And I feel like there was certain years in school where everyone just seeing me as this like kid with, oh, she has this, or like because my dad used to like fucking spoil me rotten and do all this and all that, and I had these nice things. I just felt that people like hated on me for that. Do you get what I'm saying? And then, but no one, they just seeing like the outside of it. No one knew what was going on in the inside. Like during the school, that's when my mum and dad split up, and that was like probably as much as like I try and like brush it off, it was not a nice time, more because of like how it affected my mum and like what the way me and my mum's relationship kind of went after that. So I had all that going on behind the scenes, which no one knew about. And there's obviously a lot to that, which I can't delve into because it's not my business. But it wasn't just as simple as like the getting a divorce. It was just like loads of things, and it was not a nice time. Do you get what I'm saying? So then when I used to go in and just like people would just take the piss, and I feel like it gave actually people a leg to stand on, because people assumed this like, oh, she's got this like kind of life, she's got all these things that like this is what people, all these people assumptions and all these things that people have said about me. It was kind of like, well, she can, if they give me shit, like, oh well, she's got a nice life kind of thing, like for her. But no one actually knew what I was going home to every single day, or like what was going on behind the scenes. So yeah, I probably did have to put my guard up a little bit during them 5 years. So I probably wasn't pleasant the first few, definitely not the first few, but did like eventually just calm down a little bit. But there was one thing about me, I was actually not scared of anyone. Like I always say, I really wish that attitude had come back in me. Like the older I get, like the worse I get with things. Like I am, and I think it's because of this. Like I do think it's because of like obviously the job that I do, which I don't mind, but I just feel like if someone was to ever give me shit back then when I was in school, like I would front the biggest, baddest bitch in the school. Like I would not be asked. I was just a little fucking scouse midget. Like, do not fuck with me. Honest to God, people used to think like I used to actually scare people though, which was so hysterical to me, because they probably actually not. But like half of them actually probably would have done me in, to be fair. Some of them aren't, absolutely not. But like I would have just laughed at me if I was them. But no, some of them actually didn't like when I would go on one, because I was actually a bit of a nut job, to be honest. But yeah, I don't know, like I just had that. So that was kind of it was just back and forth with friendships. Never really had a solid like group of girls around me. And like the girls that I did, like there was always bitching, which of course, like I get that, it's completely normal. But I just feel like people always never really had up for me. And I feel like I got to a point where like parents for some reason just didn't like me. And I get it, because I just feel like they just seeing like this, like, out again, just like judge a book by its cover kind of thing. Like I was just a kid. Like, there was no reason for parents to start trying to judge me. Like, Jesus Christ, I wasn't perfect. Do you get what I'm saying? But like, Eva was your kid. But I was always, and I feel like this is what I'm kind of getting to the point with Nevaeh lately. Like, our Nevaeh will like be in a situation, and it was kind of like me, and then she'll react in her way, and like, if she's arguing with someone, she'll get like a little scouse mates who she goes to school with involved, and like, they'll have it all out with these girls, and like, obviously they're gonna, like, they probably are being a little bit bitchy, but then at the end of the day, even though they're saying audible things to our Nevaeh to start with, that Nevaeh is obviously like upset, that upsets her. It's like, she will just get painted at the end of the day to be the bad person, and that's why I'm trying to learn it. This is what happened to me the whole way through school, and I wasn't trying to like be horrible to anyone. I was just trying to defend myself, but people are going to just like paint you out to be like a horrible girl. That's why you got to be very careful with what you say. And it is hard as a kid to like understand, like, there's always one person, and there's always one person that always gets the blame, and I felt like it was always me. Like, other kids, like, I don't know why this teachers thought the sun shined out their ass. Like, obviously fucking never. And the teachers were just as easy to like, as just eager to blame me for things. Like, the amount of times to call me woman over things, but if it was the other way around, and it was anyone speaking to me like that or doing things to me, there would be no parent getting called in then. Do you get what I'm saying? It was like just weird behaviour the whole way through it, and I do think it was because I wasn't from the area, and like I had that attitude, and it was just like the teachers didn't really know. I was just like a bit different to the other kids, like the way that I was. So some teachers just didn't like that, which is fair enough. But like, whereas like, that's what annoys me. If I would have stayed in Liverpool, I would never have had them issues, because I would have just let everyone. I would have grown up with them people. Like, it's just different. Like, listen to how weird this is as well in my school. So in this school that I went, so it was just the rules there. Oh my lord, mate, it's actually fucking insane. It shocks me to this day that this is still a thing. Like, if the school are watching this, or anyone from the school, like, this is actually disgusting what you do, and I don't actually care. I'm calling you out on your bullshit, because you called me out on mine a few once too many times. So when I was in school, they had this thing called the bungalow. Like, this is when it's a new build now, but there was actually an old building when I was there. So they had this school thing called the bungalow. So if you get like isolated, or you got red carded, you got walked over to the bungalow, and it was like little cubicles that you would sit in. It was like a prison cell basically, and it was basically it was like an old nurse's home or something mad like that. Just like, it was weird, and he had like everyone's name had engraved, like who had been there, and it was just like proper weird vibes, like so creepy. It was vile. So if you got red carded from your lessons, so he was getting referred, and then he was getting red carded. If you get red carded, you go to the bungalow, and like one of the head teachers or the principal head will come and get you, or like this, whatever the one of them will come and get you anyway, walk you over and go mad, yeah. And it was just like, they'd lock you up in there all day. Like, there was kids that had never seen the inside of the new school, because they would literally just like put them in the bungalow all week. Like, they just learn from the bungalow, even though you'd literally just have to sit there. And half the time I was in there, like with the times I'd been in there, and write lines, like, I just could not believe that that's like a thing. Do you think that's benefiting anyone? Like, honest to God, like, putting them in a weird little room like that, it's fucking scary. Honest to God, I hate it. And then they had this other thing called, like, about phones. So you weren't allowed your phones out, and if you got caught on your phone, you never just got your phone took off you for the lesson, or got your phone took off you till the end of the day. You got your phone took off you till the Friday. So if you got caught on your phone on a Monday, you would not get your phone back till the Friday. You wouldn't get it back at the end of the day to like take home. They would keep you, and they still do it now to this day, I'm pretty sure. And they would keep your phone all week till the Friday. Imagine taking a teacher's phone off them for checking their phone in school, which they all do, and keeping it off them all week, where they couldn't text the wife, they couldn't text like the parents, they couldn't text their friends. Like, you are actually fucking tapped for that. That is so weird. And we all know that the teachers check their phones. You get what I'm saying? To see if anyone's messaged them, what you want for tea tonight or something. You defo replied to your fucking wife or your husband. You get what I'm saying? Like, let's not bullshit. But what if people done it? That's what would happen. So you'd have your phone taken off you all week. Now imagine getting your phone taken off you and having to walk back from school, and like, so you, like, God forbid anything ever happened. You get what I'm saying? Like, it's actually like, you need your phone. Like, it's actually disgusting. So yeah, so then if you got bored, this is the worst fucking part about it. If you got caught on your phone on a Friday, you wouldn't get your phone back till the following Friday. That is tapped. You're telling me that the school can have my property over the weekend all week, and I'm going to sit without a phone. So you can imagine the amount of times I've had murder over the phone. It got to the point where I just had a fake phone, and I feel like they just knew it, because I would cause that much of a, like, thingy, they would take it off you, put it in an envelope, put it in a box, and like you wouldn't see it for a week. Like, are you fucking for real? There'd be no way. So I did eventually just like start taking a phone in, but did have that phone taken off me, normal phone taken off me, but I'd used, like, honest to God, used to get my mum and everything to go in, and they'd be like, no, we can't give her it back. Like, a huge fucking messing. Oh, I hate them so much. So there was just like things like that that just made me hate school. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, sometimes, like, and they'd be like, obviously the reason you can't use your phone is because if there's any kids in the, and because if you're taking pictures or videos, which none of us was half the time, we were literally just like checking the time or like taking a selfie of us off the girls. You get what I'm saying? Everyone wants memories like that. Like, through school, you want selfies and you want like little things like that. It's just part of fucking growing up. Half the time we wasn't ever doing nothing wrong. It was just like weird. And then it got to a point where we used to have like a little pocket there on our blazer, and you know, at the front, like them at the top, and you used to, even if your phone was in there and they could see the top of your phone, they'd take it off you, because people who were having fights, that's how people were filming fights in school. And if you come in with your makeup on, you get isolated. So they'd take you out like a full day lessons just for the fact that you've got makeup on your skin. Like, that is so fucking backward to me, honest to God. Like, school's meant to just be going there, doing your reading, doing your writing, and like learning something and coming home, not fucking worrying about makeup. Like, we want to slay back in the day. Like, obviously you want to slay when you're in your first years of school, because you care about the way that you look, and you are just making it all awkward, making us rub off makeup off with a baby wipe. Like, no wonder people were breaking out with fucking acne. Like, honest to God, they just had no like care for us ever, and they tried to act like the strictest school, and like they wanted the most amazing results, and like they had the best interest in everyone, but then they just lock you up for the minorest things like makeup and fucking using your phone or checking your messages in school. Like, get a grip, honest to God. So they're the things I always had issues with, I would say. I remember, and then like they were just like little things like that they would constantly do with me. Like, I just feel like if I had makeup on, they'd come and check my phone first and that. Like, fuck off, do you get what I'm saying? I did have like big scouse bras at the time and stuff like that, but like I just felt like they was just a bit like, if you were a bit louder, they were a bit more like targeted. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, you're basically putting a big X on the back of your, like on your back, whatever the saying is. I don't know. I just felt like that's what it was at some points in school with me. Like, the teachers were just rude for no reason. I feel like the teachers, like a lot of them did just like was disrespectful until you went into like maybe your older year, like a bit of an older year, like maybe when you got into like year 9 and you picked your GCSE options. But before that, they literally treated me like shit, honest to God. I literally couldn't bear it. There was not one teacher that was polite, I don't think, in my opinion. I always had issues with PE teachers. I hated PE, hated the PK, hated the way it used to make me look. So I used to probably cause a little bit of trouble in PE, because as if you're making me put on like blue shorts that are giving me a camel toe like that. I'm sorry, but what was it with them shorts that they would make you wear in PE? Like, that is fucking weird that they wanted you to wear that. Now I'm looking back, honest to God. Like, it was so like, I don't know why them shorts just like crawled up like that so much. It really was the most vile thing ever. You wanted me to just get about with that PE kit. My PE kit was vile as well. It was like bright blue. And so I remember this is a story. So my brother used to go to this school that I went, and he went, and he was a little bastard, my brother. He's older than me, but there was this one teacher, and I swear he's still there now. Like, I don't know why he's still there, and he hasn't retired yet, because he's been there for so many years. He's older fella now as well. Like, and he hated my brother anyway. Like, my brother, he used to catch my brother like smoking and that, and like, they just used to have murder all the time. But so then when I went, the first thing I said to this teacher was, "Oh, do you know my brother, like Jordan, blah blah blah?" And he was like, he looked at me as if to say, "I'm not another one." And I was like, "Oh yeah," but I'd done it on purpose, because I was like, because I knew he used to be my brother, and I was like, "You little hothead," do you get what I'm saying? And I just wanted to let him know that he was my brother, and like, he's a nice person, leave him alone. And the worst thing I could have ever done. I remember I was in PE this day with Miss Wood. Now, Miss Wood used to confuse me. I'm saying all these names and words that you used to probably think about the fuck, but one day she used to like love you, and the next day she used to like just hate you. She was just picked and choose like what day she wanted to like be your mate, kind of thing. And I remember this one day was in PE, and I forgot my socks. Oh my God, there was nothing worse than forgetting your socks in PE, because they tried to give you like minty ass socks if you forgot them. Like, I'm going to put them anywhere near my toes. You get what I'm saying? So half the time I just wear no socks for PE with me trainees, because I'm not fucking putting, no way, I'm sorry. But I remember I tried to put them socks on once, and they had like dust at the sand in the bottom. Don't even make me feel sick. So anyway, I forgot my socks this day. I had camel toe, of course, every single time I PE I did. I fucking hated my life. And we were doing like this dance thing, like she had music on, I can't remember. And I was like dancing around, like, woo, like obviously just like messing around with her, having a joke. Next minute she goes and turns the radio off and just goes, right, you're getting referred, and just refers me out the fucking blue. I was like, what? Why are you referring me? Like, honest to God, if I had done anything, guys, I'm actually not bothered. I will sit here and say, oh yeah, I done this and I shouldn't have done that. Like, I'm not bothered about like admitting things. I genuinely was like gobsmacked. I was like, what have I done wrong? She was like, you've intimidated me. Even everyone in the class was a bit baffled because I was only dancing. Like, and like everyone was just having a joke. Do you get me? It's fucking, well, you've just put music on, like, I'm trying to uplift the spirits, yeah. And she was like, you've just tried to intimidate me dancing around me like that. I felt intimidated. You felt intimidated by a fucking 4'10" girl. Like, I was literally 4 foot. I was a midget at this point. Like, I was so small. I was like, get a grip. So bear in mind, when you get referred, you go to the lads' PA class. So that's half the lads are basically in a PA class while you are, because they're in different like bands, aren't they? Whatever it is. So anyway, half the boys in my year are in this PE class with this one man teacher who knows that Jordan was my brother, and I knew that he didn't like me from that day onwards. I just don't think he liked anyone who was a female, to be honest with you. So it's so weird. So I got the referral slip and I had to walk over and it was said intimidating a teacher. I was like, I can't believe I didn't even do it. So I just went into the boys' PE hall. I was nearly crying. I had no socks on. I looked at the show. I was like, oh my God, kill me now. Just take me away. Honest to God, I just felt like dying. I was going to run away. I was literally going to think, I'm not even going in. I'm just going to like get off. But all my uniform was in the PE thingy and she wouldn't let me back in the PE hall to go and get changed, a little weirdo. So anyway, I went in and he read the slip and was like intimidating the teacher. He was like, go and stand over there. So when I stand in the, he was like, go and join in. He had the lads like training for a fucking war. I was like, I'm not joining in. I'm not doing sprints with the lads. Are you fucking for real? Like, as if. So I just stood there in the corner at the back of the PE hall and just like never joined in. And then he just come over to me and went, why aren't you joining in? I should join in. I said, because I feel embarrassed. Like, I'm not running around with all the lads in me here. And he was like, you feel embarrassed? Stop the fucking music again. I was like, why is everyone stopping the radios over me today? And went, everyone, this girl feels embarrassed. Let's show what embarrassing feels like. Everyone look at her. That's what he's done to half the lads in my year. Cross my heart, hope to die. I'm not telling a word of a lie. I was obviously only a young girl. I just looked at him and just was like, as if you've just done that. I just burst out crying and walked out because I was fuming. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, that was one thing that the teachers always used to get twisted, like with me. When I like start crying, I'm not crying because you made me sad. I feel like fucking punching your head in, but I can't because you're a teacher. Do you know what I mean? Like that. Like I hate that. Like, I'm such an angry crier. Like, I do it all the time when I'm arguing with people as well. Like, when I argue with my mum, she makes me angry to the point where I've got tears streaming down my face. Like, if you're a cancer, you can definitely relate on that because, oh my God, like, I can cry when I'm sad, but I can cry more when I'm angry. Like, I'm like hysterical when I'm mad. So I left the PE hall and was like, you're a fucking joke. I was like, I hate ya. Like, so then but he was screaming in my face. He was like, so he come back out to PE hall and was like, you've been referred for intimidating a teacher. How do you, like, I was like, yeah, and you've just basically intimidated me in there. Like, 2 wrongs don't make it right. I was like, I haven't even fucking done anything to Miss Wood. I don't know what she's on about on this referral slip, but you've just like embarrassed me in front of half the lads in my hair and screamed at me. And like, to the point where I had literally smelled what he had for breakfast. It was so close to my face. It was horrible. And I was just like, as if I felt ashamed. It was so bad. So I was like, I'm not going back in there. So I went back, but like his head fell off then because he could see how hysterical I was. And I had a bad habit. I'm not gonna lie, I had a bad habit for school. Like, if a teacher made me cry, I used to ring my dad. And it got to the point where the teachers knew that. Like, my dad ended up actually getting barred off the premises. He wasn't allowed on the school site because he went in and threatened his head teacher that many times, and I'm not lying. He used to walk in and just wait in his office for him if I rang him crying. But I knew that my dad would go mad this time, and it was wrong what he done. Like, do you want my dad to come in and fucking scream at you and bully you the way you've just tried to bully me in front of every single fucking lad in my year? Do you get me? Like, no, it's wrong. Go and pick on someone your own size. I'm a young girl. And then he felt bad then. He was like, I'm so sorry, I've got a daughter your age and all that. I was like, imagine my teacher done what you've just done to your kid. Like, go away, stop speaking to me. I walked off. Anyway, I rang my dad in the changing room, say, I started crying. But because this teacher, this specific man, bullied my brother so much, like, and done so much to my brother, like, oh my God, my brother, he was horrible to him. Like, my dad already was waiting for him to have his day with him, because I think my dad was like, not really, he was up in Liverpool, Jordan lives in Runcorn, so like, he wasn't round. Like, he was obviously seeing Jordan, but do you get what I'm saying? He never lived with our Jordan because his mum and dad weren't together at the time. Well, my mum and my dad and his mum, whatever. God, that gets messy when you go into that. So anyway, my dad literally walked into school, fucking sat down in the head teacher's office waiting for the head teacher to come back, and he was like, "Oh, Mr. Roberts, how can I help you?" And my dad literally went off his head, like, really, really bad, and was like, and I went home with my dad. He was like, "My daughter's coming home with me. Like, she's not coming into school to be fucking spoken to like that by any of your member of staff, sorted out and all that." Oh my God, this is another funny story. Oh my God, you're gonna love this one. So this is another Miss Wood one. So at the time, my mate in school, she just had like an operation on her knee, so she used to get let into the canteen early. So this one time, while she was recovering from her operation, she was on crutches and that, we just like skip PE, do you get what I mean? Like if she can't do PE, I'm looking after the kind of thing while she's like obviously on crutches. So we just like we literally just like sat and like we just chilled in the change rooms and never went into the PA. And then we got off to go to get into the canteen early, and Miss Wood came in and fucking screamed at me for skipping PA. I was but screamed at me like I've never even been screamed like that by that by my mum. Like I couldn't believe it. She was like, "Who do you think you are?" Like proper roaring. And as I've like turned round, the canteen stuff like behind me, where you obviously go and get your food and that. But as I've like turned round, I've said, "Oh, fuck off," under my breath. Not to her, like I was being nice still, I just said it under my breath. The fucking dinner lady, read me. And when she's just told you to fuck off, she's just told you to fuck off about me, I thought, oh my God. So then Mr. Burns, this other fucking teacher comes in who everyone's scared of, screams at me, roars at me, goes and locks me in the bungalow for telling the teacher to fuck off. I couldn't believe it, like honest to God. Like, Jesus Christ, I'm growing up, like I'm a teenager. Your kids probably tell you to fuck off, do you get what I mean? Because you're all fucking annoying. Honest to God, like, oh, it was the nicest thing I could have said. Fuck off. I could have called you fucking something worse, but I never. And I never even said it to you out loud, blatantly. I just said it under my breath to myself because that's what was going through my brain. Ugh, I hated them. And then another time, oh my God, whenever you used to like get caught with your phone, it was like the most gut-wrenching feeling ever. I remember I had my blazer over my head and I was on the phone to my mum asking if she would come and get me because for some reason I missed Tansy. I was sat, there was like a dome in the backyard, yeah, like an actual dome, like imagine the biggest gazebo ever with like a few benches underneath. And we were sat on the side and I had my blazer over my head on my phone, like speaking to my mum. PE teacher come over and tapped me on the shoulder and was like, "What are you doing with your blazer on your head?" And I was like, "The seagulls." Obviously I was under the dome, the seagulls couldn't get to me. And I was like, "Well, they can still fly in here if they wanted to." And she was like, "Take it off." So I remember I like lied down, like trying to like lie down on this bench to like, so my phone didn't like fall from my thingy. And my phone, she see my phone and like Mr. Jardine come and got me. But when you go to get caught again, hysterical tears, like, you fucking bitch. Do you get what I'm saying? Just tell me to put it away and go mind your business. It was on break anyway. But yeah, no, they used to do like mad things like that. But that thing caused absolute murder with that man teacher. I remember that. And every other time, really, that I cried, I just used to ring my dad. And he used to come in and like have full-blown murder. And there was this one teacher. There was this one teacher who was horrible to every single pupil. He used to be like, "Coats on, get in the canteen." Like he's just known for the gob on him. Like he's a proper teacher. Do you get what I'm saying? He's a lovely man, bless him. But something went on again. I think this was the IT teacher, and again I rang my dad crying. He come in, but this time it's the main Edwin, and he went to go and see this teacher. And he went, "Go and stand outside, Livvy." And I just thought, oh my God, I can't believe I've done this again. Why do I keep doing this to myself? And my dad, I just heard my dad have an absolute word with this teacher, like it was one of his mates. And I was like, for fuck's sake. And that man was so nice to me ever since that day. Like, he never asked me to put his coat on every time he see me. "You all right?" He's smiling. I've never seen his teeth in the whole 5 years of me being there. And all of a sudden, he was dead nice to me. It was fucking hysterical, honest God. But then my dad got banned then. Because it was like getting enough was enough that he was just allowed. He used to like pick me up from the outside and like in his car, and they wouldn't even let him do that. I had to start walking the shop and that when he used to come and get me. Because I think he just like threatened too many staff, basically. But yeah, and then so obviously I did, but in the last 2 years of school, I definitely did like get my head down a little bit more, like a proper revise. Like, people don't get it, like I was actually quite clever, you know, I swear to God. I really did revise, like the hard, like so fucking hard, and I would write fit. Oh, my walls used to be like full of revision. I proper tried my best because my dad told me that he'd give me £1,000 for every A that I got. And I was like, let me see if I can turn this around in the next 2 years, because the first 3 I never really done that on. And I did try my best, don't get me wrong, I really did. But I didn't get an A in any end. I did get a B in me English literature, and I think I got a 5, which is like a C in everything else. I think I might have got a B in biology as well. It was so annoying because I wanted to go to this college after it, I wanted to go to this private college called Queen's, and I went to view it and that on the college night, and like I was going to go to this college, I was going to do science, I was so excited, but you had to get a B to like be able to take the A level, otherwise like you wouldn't really get in. And I tried to forge my results, my mum noticed, like I cut out like sevens and like stuck them over my fives and then photocopied my results again, but my mum noticed that everything had gone up and like went mad at me because she was about to send it over to Queen's and it was all fucking fake. Defo would have worked though, like fuck it, and what if it didn't? So yeah, like I just feel like there was just a few little things like that with school, and like, ugh, I just hated it, to be honest with you. It's like there was just not one person in that school that I speak to this day. Like I could not think of anything worse. I don't know how I coped in that school because I was a little one man stand. Like that is one thing that people. That's why I like when I say, oh, I struggled with friends in school. Like I want to keep reiterating because I know that people who went to school with me would be like, but you were just like an outsider looking in. Do you get what I'm saying? But what I know, like I just felt like that people would always like do things and then I'd react and just fucking get the blame. I hated it. But like there was one thing about me, and I was not scared of, like I said it before, I was not scared of anyone. Like I would bounce around with my donut bun in, mate, and I would like be ready for anyone. Like if anyone wanted to start, then I'm gonna have an argument with you, even if they were older than me or anything. I remember there was this one girl who everyone was shit scared of, like, and I was like, fuck her, like I'm not fucking scared of it. Like it was just because as if I'm scared of any of you, like fuck, I'll argue with you for fun. Like that was the attitude I had to have, I swear to God. And I remember this girl said something about me and everyone was like, don't say nothing to her, don't say nothing to her. She was like 3 years older than me and I literally went up to her and everyone gathered around like I was about to have a fight with her. And I made her walk away from me. Like I could argue. There was one thing about me and no one can say I couldn't. I could fucking argue. I had it in me. And I just don't have that vibe and like them vibes anymore. And even though it's probably a positive because I was a bit of a, like probably a little bit of a bitch. It's actually not, because I hate it sometimes. Like sometimes I wish I'd still defended myself and like stood on business the way I used to, because now sometimes I feel like I'm a little bit like, oh, gotta be nice, gotta be like, do you know what I mean? Like not that I fake being nice, I am exactly who I am. But you get what I'm saying? Like when people say things online, I just want to fucking go in on them, and you've just got to be like, ugh, and be all nice. That's the annoying part about the job, because you got to kind of keep a bit like professional, and sometimes you just want to call them a like go in. Do you get what I'm saying? But it's hard. But yeah, Liv would not have had it. And I remember arguing with that girl, and I was like secretly shitting myself, and I was like, who the fuck are you? Like, don't fucking think that you make me feel a certain way, because she used to try and like bully all like that, she like all the younger ones, you get what I mean, and have all of like us feeling like a certain way because she was just like a little bully. So I've put it in a place and she never said boo to me ever again. But I just love them vibes. Like I swear to God, no one would fought with me in that donut one. But yeah, school's just like, it was funny, and I probably wouldn't do it again. But if you are going through school, I do feel like you should appreciate it. Like this is what I try and get into my sister's head now. Or my little sister, she left school last year. I went and moved to Portugal for 6 months, and she thought it was like, she hated school. She thought it was going to be like the best thing that she ever done. And don't get me wrong, she loved Portugal. She loved being with my dad. Like it was like a nice time for her. But then when she come back, when she wanted to come home, and obviously she missed my mum and everything, like she did miss school, and when she was on FaceTime to her mates, and her mates were like talking about things like that had gone on, and she kind of wasn't in the mix. Like she didn't like that. And she started to miss school, which was like, when I say Oda, I thought I hated school. Oda, me hated school. And she ends up like wanting to go back, and they actually let her go back, which was mad. But and now she's like proper loving it. Like I do think, yeah, and it's because her outlook's changed, because now she knows the grass isn't always greener on the other side. Like the minute you leave school, everything changes, and it's so weird. Like school's so unserious. They make it feel serious with your GCSEs and all your shit. Like I passed all my GCSEs and I haven't used them once. I did fail physics and history because I didn't try on them. But yeah, like they fucking hell, they make you feel like you need all of this and all of that, and you just don't, like, I just don't get it. Why am I gonna need to know what year the fucking Romans fought and war? Do you get what I'm saying? It's just irrelevant information. They should teach you like the things that you need to know when you leave school and in adult life. They don't teach you, like taxes. I don't have a fucking clue. Like when I had to start doing that, it's so confusing. You just leave a little bit clueless and just like made aware of the most irrelevant things. Like, why do you have to learn about 19 poems? Have you seen that? Did Jews have to do that? Did anyone else have to do that? I can't remember how many it was, but it was like 20 odd poems. I could swear about it. And you had to remember all of them for your GCSE, and only one of them was going to come up that you had to write like an exam on. Can you fucking believe that? Do you know how ridiculous that is? Like, they really need to change it up, the way, like, the government, you know, of like what they do with school. Primary school, fair enough, you want to go like when you're doing like your times tables and all that, that's fun. Do you get me? Like when you're actually like learning your basic maths and like English and shit. But like then they just take it too far. Like, why would I ever need to remember that many poems? Do you get what I'm saying? You just would never would ever. Like, I've never in a situation have I even had to do half the maths that you learn. So I just use my calculator like a normal person, like they probably do every single day at home. But then they want to go in and try and teach us about algebra. Ugh, I just don't know how I ever coped with school. Honest to God, I fucking hated well, I hated it. But then it's what I'm trying to say. You should take it for granted, because once it is over, all them things that you hate, like, they become funny, and they're like, oh, remember when you used to go in and this teacher used to do that, or you may really when this happened with the mates. Like, it does become funny, and you kind of miss it, because the whole vibe changes in college. I hated college so much. I literally lasted a month, and then I thought, fuck this, I'd rather like have a job and earn money. Like, I'm not sitting here and doing this shit with like the maddest people ever. Fuck that. Like, there's just fucking no way on it earth, honest to God. And yeah, I left there, and that's when I ended up going. Oh no, wait. So I actually went to a college first, and then left there and went to this sixth form, and like I didn't like it, didn't like the vibes there at all. But while I was in this sixth form that I was in, I went and got a part-time job when I was like 16, and just because like I was just like sick of asking my dad for money all the time. Do you know what I mean? Like, I just hated it. Like, if I was ordering like a pizza or something, obviously, well, I wasn't doing much at 16 to need like a full like a job and money and that, but like, if you were ordering food or you were doing something or going to the shop, I had to ring my dad. So I was like, no, I want to go and get a job. So I got a job. It was part-time. So that was at 4 p.m. till 8 p.m. And it was in like this call centre. So we used to walk from college to the call centre, work there from 4 p.m. till 8 p.m. on the phones at an hotel. Would not fucking cope, honest to God. But I think I got paid all right, like money off it. I was made up with it. My dad was like, oh, you don't need to do that. You know, like, you're in college, I'd rather you focus on that. I was like, no, I want a job. Like, just leave it. And then yeah, I done it for a few months. I actually lasted out in that job for a little bit, and every single day I would leave to go to the sixth form at 9, leave there at 3, walk to work at 4, finish at 8, get the bus back at 8. And people always use, and then when I started social media, people were always like, oh, you live off your dad, blah blah blah. Like, I've actually never sat at home and been a little sponge when I could have been. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but like, if you, I mean, like, there's actually nothing wrong with that if you, like, your parents give you money. But I mean, for me, it was just like never like that. I've always wanted to earn my own money and like have my own little thing at least. Like, even if my dad was still giving me money, like, I still wanted to have like the basic bits of it. Do you get what I'm saying? And I ended up going to work in a taxi office, but I just hated it. Like, I'm so lucky and blessed that I've actually found something I enjoy, because there's actually nothing worse than not enjoying your job. And like, sometimes if you are in a position where that way you like, you hate your job and you hate what you're doing, like, you don't know what's around the corner. Like, I'm just so lucky that I fell into this. You don't like, I did like this is what was waiting for me. Do you get what I'm saying? And you really don't know what's coming your way either. But I wouldn't say in nothing for too long. Like, I mean, for a little while, wait it out. But if you're really, really, truly unhappy anyway, make sure you leave and take yourself out of that environment, because it's not a nice, especially in work when you get older. If you think school's bitchy, wait until you're in a bitchy work environment. It's 10 times worse, because you actually argue with adults this time. But yeah, guys, that was just like some little stories and like how my school experience, like, to work and kind of stuff. But if you are in school, honestly, it just becomes a funny memory and a distant thing, like whatever you're going through. And I like, that's one more thing I do want to say. I just feel like I was probably like, I was a bit mean to the mean girls. Like, at the end of the day, they was mean, and it wasn't just me. But I was just like, if you're gonna be mean to people, I'll be mean to you, kind of thing. And I just like had that energy, and people didn't like that about me. But I couldn't give a fuck, to be honest, because they serve nothing to my life. Always remember that. Sometimes it's just like, you've got to let people paint you out to be the villain. Like, that's something I've had to come to terms with and accept in so many scenarios in my life. These people are going to make you out to be something that you're not, and you've just got to accept that. As long as you know, it really doesn't matter. But being the villain isn't always the bad thing. Like, honest to God, like, let them paint whatever picture they need to you like to make themselves feel better, and you live in peace with yourself, knowing what kind of person you are. That's my advice. But yeah, guys, that was just like a little cutesy little topic that we could talk about, and just like some little funny stories and experiences from school. So I hope you have enjoyed this episode. I am step closer to going to get me Joe and the juice, which I can't wait for. I'm not going to stop talking about this spicy tuna, honest to God. He's going to absolutely be obsessed. You need to get on the spicy tuna and Jonah juice. But I hope you all have a lovely start to your week, and I will see you on the next episode. And thank you so much for watching. Make sure you like, subscribe, and follow us on all platforms at Tea Time with Livvy. And I love you all so much. Bye.